All right, how you doing? Just adjusted the autofocus on my video, whatchamacallit. How you doing? It's Mr. DJ back again. I feel rusty as nails again. Always a cold start when I get started back on my countdown. I finished up at number 19 last night, so I'm up to number 18 on my fantasy playlist. It's the week of June 26, 2006. Oh boy, this one took 12 big notches up on my fantasy playlist from number 30 to number 18. Kim, I'm probably mispronouncing her last name again. I always have problems pronouncing the C at the end of the alphabet. C. Kim Saucy with Alone. This is a slamming remake of the Heart classic. Now, if you're too young to remember Heart, the song was originally done by Heart alone. It was number one on Billboard's Hot 100, their version back in the spring of 1987. Ann and Nancy Wilson. Nancy Wilson killed the vocals on this thing. She was an awesome singer. If you like this version, you ought to hear, and Kim Saucy does a good job singing on this record, but you got to listen to Nancy Wilson on the original. This woman had a set. It's not just a set of pipes. It's not just the biological attributes as far as her voice is concerned. It's the passion. It's the sincerity. It's the basically the passion. I can't come up with another word that she throws into her voice. Now, one thing about Alone by Heart, one other thing I want to mention about the song Alone, it was written by the dynamic duo. Yes, you never heard of them, but you're going to hear of them right now. The dynamic duo, the guys who wrote it, Tom Kelly and Billy Sternberg. These guys, they wrote Like a Virgin by Madonna. They wrote Eternal Flame by the Bangles. They wrote So Emotional, which was a big hit for Whitney Houston in the fall of 1987. And they also wrote I Touch Myself by the Definals, which was a huge hit for them back in the spring of 1991, that tongue-in-cheek hit from the early 90s. Now back to Kim Saucy. Let's get back to her. She's a fantastic singer. Now she's from New York City, a dance singer from New York, Long Island. She started her career in 1999 when she signed with Columbia Records. Now she made an album, but Columbia Records did not put out the album. There were a couple of singles that she put out during that era. One of them made the soundtrack of the what was it called? Dawson Creek TV show, which I guess ran in the late 90s, early 2000s, but you probably are a lot more up on the television shows than I am. Now, this I do remember. She was in a group called Mint, M-Y-N-T. I'm just going to pronounce it Mint or Myint. And they had a song called How Did You Know? She sang on that, I believe. And I got that on a fantasy playlist dating back to 2005. And then she left the group to pursue a solo career. She signed with Ultra Records and came out with this song Alone. Big dance hit for her. It's a hit on my fantasy playlist. I eventually put this up in my top 10. Number 18, Kim Saucy with Alone.